Um, so I was studying dating rituals in South Korea, and dating rituals have a lot of overlap with. Has anybody ever seen a Korean drama? Yeah. Yeah, the date and the love connection, and those are constant plot twists and plot subjects. So my research overlapped with those things quite a bit. But I studied dating rituals in South Korea, and it turns out that in South Korea there's a lot of these holidays, these couples holidays, and maybe you've seen them. Does anybody in Korean dramas or movies? Does anybody know what Pepero Day is? Pepero Day? I see one person nodding. Who wants to tell us what Pepero Day is so I can drink some water? The person that was nodding yes decided not to pipe in. That's okay. So Pepero Day is sort of like this made-up holiday that this chocolate company called Lotte Chocolate just invented one day and said, oh, well, on this day, 11/11, it's right here, November 11th. Oops. Oops. No, I can't click things. I got to remember. On this day, you should exchange our chocolate cookies, which are these long sticks that look like the number 11. They're these chocolate dip cookies. They look like Pocky from Japan, if you know what Pocky is. You should exchange these. Otherwise, you're a bad boyfriend or you're a bad girlfriend. Every boyfriend or girlfriend worth their salt should exchange these gifts on November 11th. And that was it. They just had an advertising campaign, and now everybody exchanged chocolate cookies on this day. And so you see it in popular culture. It's become popular culture. But you'll notice too that Koreans, every 14th of every single month, there is a Valentine's Day-like celebration where you'd get together and you'd have a fancy dinner and you'd exchange gifts. There's also idiosyncratic holidays. So they have two birthdays. I'm probably throwing too much information at you at one time, but don't worry, we'll cover all this later. They have two separate birthdays, and they don't really celebrate birthdays in the same way we do. So they celebrate their birthday as a couple's holiday. It's a romantic holiday. It's not get together with your friends and your family and eat a cake. It's this, no, my boyfriend needs to take me out, or my girlfriend needs to take me out, and we need to have a romantic holiday. They also celebrate every 100 days they've been dating, every 200 days, every 300, every 500, all the way up to 1,000. They celebrate yearly anniversaries. Some of them celebrated monthly anniversaries. Some of them celebrate 2-2 Day, which is the 22nd day you've been dating. They have a holiday. Christmas is very much a couple's holiday. Most Koreans are not Christian, and even the Christian Koreans don't really celebrate Christmas in the same way that we do. So it's become a couple's holiday because Koreans have seen Christmas as this romantic thing on American television and American movies. Maybe they watch too much Hallmark Channel. And Gobek Day is one of my favorite couples holidays. Does anybody know why September 17th would be an important couples holiday in Korea? Anybody want to take a guess? You might be able to figure it out. Gobek means confession, so it's confession day. You confess your love to somebody on that day. Why September 17th? Anybody want to guess? I'm good at waiting.
Does it have to do with school?
No, it doesn't have to do with school, but I'll go ahead and continue since somebody was brave enough to take a guess. Thank you very much. So September 17th is 100 days before Christmas. So if you confess your love to somebody on Confession Day, then your 100-day celebration, your 100-day holiday, which is one of the most romantic holidays, will be on Christmas Day. So it's sort of like combining two couples holidays. It's supposed to be like this big romantic thing. So I study how economics and gender interplay in when Koreans are searching for a date and in the dating process. And Korean gender and Korean relationships, I call them intimate relationships. Korean intimate relationships are commodified, made expensive in a lot of other ways too. So after you've been dating for about 100 days, you've probably seen this in dramas. If you watch very many Korean dramas, Koreans will exchange rings, just like we might do when we get married. Koreans have these couples rings. And so it's funny because you can't really tell in Korea who's married and who's not, because a lot of people are wearing these couples rings. They also have couple sets that they wear. So you go into a department store and they might have a men's department for clothing, a women's department for clothing, and then they also have a couples department where you can buy these outfits. They have couples theater seats. They're a little bit more expensive. You can buy these couples couches essentially in a movie theater. Notice the nice high back and these kind of curvy things that go around to the side so you can have some privacy in the theater. They have couple sets and menus on a restaurant. So there's the a la carte menu, and then there's also the couples menu, and there's even couples banking accounts. A lot of my couples in my research had these couples banking accounts that they would use together, where they both contribute a certain amount of money into the bank account, and they use that bank account whenever they go on a date. Any questions so far? Is any of this even remotely interesting? I hope it's interesting. Oh, good. And so I study how this economics and how this commodification of relationships is expressed in gender inequality. So you see, this is a glass ceiling index. That's an index of how hard it is for a woman to move up within an organization. So some countries have very high glass ceilings where it's not that difficult for a woman to become the CEO of a company or the president of the nation or something like that. But you see, Korea has a very low glass ceiling index, which means it's extremely hard for Korean women to move up in the workplace. Right? They tend to be stuck in lower paid positions, especially if they have children or they get married. They're almost sometimes like fired when they have a child because it's assumed that they're going to quit anyway, or they're not going to be as devoted to the company anymore since they had children. Women lag behind in full employment, and the gender pay gap, that is the pay difference between men and women, is the highest in South Korea compared to any other country that is developed OECD nations. And so a lot of my research is talking about how this income inequality ends up being a burden on the relationship, because we tend to think about love, especially romantic love, as being something that's equal between two equals, right? But in this way, they're coming into the relationship as not equals mostly. Mostly men make much more money than the woman they are dating, and at the same time, they're forced into these constant gift exchanges. Remember, these gift exchanges that take place monthly, if not more often than monthly. Sometimes even two or three you'll have every single month. And so, how does that affect the relationship? That was the subject of my research. Questions about my research? In the future, I promise I will not lecture this long or talk nearly this much.